So we'll move on and start getting a little more proactive. Some of the things that we and many other people, including those in the room, Portland Trust, Meet, Seeds of Peace, EFE, the founder and CEO Ron joined us. So there's a lot of issues on personal development. That's one of TYO's main things, is working on psychosocial level to build people's confidence, build a bit of hope, bring a bit of fun into the room, and get people back to being energized about life, so that they have some reason to create a business. If you're not hopeful for yourself or for your children, why would you start a business? So we do simple things like English classes, fitness, computer classes, just to get people living again. Training and capacity building obviously is huge, and that needs to happen on every level. So sort of, as well as these personal things, more general planning skills, strategy, and then much more technical things about accounting or marketing or everything that you all are really good at here at HBS. After you have those skills, you need some sort of access to legal assistance. How do you register this business idea you might have? We're having a seminar next week in Nablus to talk about that with the Ministry, of Interior and lawyers, so that the women can learn how to do that. And then finance. Actually, another of the Suktian's projects is the biggest microfinance organization for women in Jordan, which we just had an interesting and exciting conversation at lunch to bring back our idea of opening that in the West Bank. So that you're sure. There are some initiatives happening, not only the Portland Trust, but microfinance is not a saturated market yet in the West Bank. So this is an important new endeavor. And finally, some people are entrepreneurs, and the Palestinian population is very entrepreneurial by nature, but some people just want jobs. A lot of the women that we work with, especially in the refugee camps, are very poor. They have 7 to 12 kids. They used to work either in Israel or in the settlements, and they don't anymore. Their husband doesn't work anymore either, and they don't have money for food or housing or heat or electricity, and they just want to work. They don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and come up with a snazzy new idea for a business. They just want to do 6 hours a day and get a paycheck. So some of the initiatives that people in this room and the Suktians or Hani or the Portland Trust graduates in Ramallah can start great businesses so that these people can simply work. So just briefly, a few images from Nablus. This is our center that we work in, and just representing the holistic approach of working with young children, working with youth, working with women, so that you can really bring in the community. This is our partner in women's business, Cherie Blair, Tony's wife. She was in Nablus and saw these two different populations of the kind of young, dynamic, potential businesswomen and the sort of beaten down refugee women who want jobs. And that's what our cooperation came out of. Go ahead. So just 9 months after her visit, we had these 23 women gathered on International Women's Day in March, about to start an intensive 2-week training in business skills and entrepreneurship. So their theme for the day that they chose was No Place for Failure, which I think is a very good indicator of even these very young women's attitudes towards making this happen and making a better life for themselves and their community. And this was the graduation, just about 10 days ago, after an intensive 2-week training, during which they all wrote a business plan and came up with a concept for something they wanted to start themselves, which we now are helping them to incubate. So I just brought a few samples so that you can start to get an idea of the kinds of things that hopefully will be happening, so that you all can get involved directly as mentors or donors or whatever else you want to do. This is Hadil, who's a wonderful young woman that's been working with us for a while as a volunteer. And she was really striking the first time she came to my office. She said, "You're from Connecticut. I was in Connecticut for 4 months." I said, "Great, what were you doing?" And she said, "Well, I was working at Best Western." That's nice. I said, good for you, but indeed it's incredible to see that those 4 months as a clerk, not only is her English flawless, but her smile and attitude and go-to-itness and get it done are unlike any of the other volunteers that we have. And so she's a very smart woman. She'll certainly won't be a clerk at Best Western for her whole life. But that simple of an experience and exposure was so significant in changing her outlook in life that now one of her business plan was one of the most intriguing, I think, and feasible. It's about 20 pages, chart after chart after chart that I certainly couldn't quite understand, but I'm sure would stand up in an HBS case for a placement like she had done for students from the West Bank coming to the US to work. And Najah has 20,000 students. It's the biggest university in Palestine. So she's projecting in her first year, I think she was projecting 10% participation, but we're going to encourage her to scale it down and look at 1% to start. So if you have 200 students who you charge $500, you're looking at a company with $100,000 of revenue in its first year. Started on about, her startup costs would be $15,000. So not bad. And this is just after her 2-week training with us. None of the incubation, none of the ongoing training, just her initial ideas. So I thought Hadil was pretty inspiring, and there's one more on the next slide. H2 Fashion is an idea to create high-end fashion products that use traditional Palestinian embroidery skills, tweaked a little bit for a more modern, upscale clientele. They do beautiful work. When Cherie Blair was with us in Nablus, we gave her a scarf, and she dutifully turned it over to see the quality of the embroidery and commented that it was, magnificent technical work. But a lot of the designs that they're making are not exactly what the market probably is going to want. So these two young women, Heba is from a village near Nablus, didn't even finish high school, but very good at embroidery. And her partner, Hannah, was born in Kuwait. She's now back with her family in the West Bank. She finished her BA in art, fine arts. She's been unemployed since 2007, despite her English and her professional skills. She's been now married. And so she's kind of the business mind for this partnership. And we're hoping to use our own connections internationally and as well in the Palestinian community and in the Middle East to help these women first get the design skills and taste, and then actually market and sell their products. So some of the results that we project and some that we already see are just that the women come to life. They're more confident, they're more motivated, they're by the third day of the training they were saying, what are we going to do all day, when you cut us loose from this training. But indeed they're coming back to the center just about every day and brainstorming what else they need and brainstorming their ideas. Obviously women produce income for their families. It's shown, sorry guys, that women reinvest about 70 to 80% of their income versus under 50% for men. So if you're talking about improving poverty, it's a better investment to go with women working. And obviously, out of the 23 women that we trained, some of them will make, one of them wants to make a hair shop, one wants to make a catering business, and that's lovely. Probably will be quite small. Probably some of them will fail. But if 2 or 3 come out as a successful small enterprise for now, that's probably going to mean 30 to 40 to 50 jobs for other people, which means 50 families being supported, or 2,000 people. So that's a really exciting outcome. And then, of course, increased contact with both Israel and internationals. I mean, being in Nablus for the last 2.5 years has been educational, and there were no Americans in the neighborhoods that we're in, and it's been great. As Hani said, people are more than happy to see us because of what we're doing for their kids and themselves, or what we're helping them to do for their kids. So just by bringing in this kind of energy and hope and smiles and fun, as well as some real concrete solid programs, you can really change the face of the hardest hit communities like Nablus, and eventually Gaza. Hopefully we'll be there by 2011. So those are some of our results, and now the opportunities for you all. Come as mentors, or just get in touch with our women over the internet or Skype or whatever. See one of these business plans, and some of them are pretty rough, but I think could obviously benefit a lot from your experience. And in the longer run, if you have a full summer or a year and you want to come hang out in Nablus or Ramallah, it's a little more fun. Help us develop a resource center that can be offering some of these things on the ground. Just being there, what people need. It's hard to project from the outside exactly 1, 2, 3, what level are people at and what's needed. But if you come and over a few months, you very quickly see what people want and need. So just by that's what we've seen with 2IO, that by having a physical presence, you generate a lot of ideas and you generate a lot of impact because you just see what's going on. Web-based commerce, I think, is a fantastic opportunity. This has been done a lot with Africa. The feed bags, I don't know if you guys saw those from Bergdorf Goodman. They're like $300 for a burlap sack. But because they benefit charity in Africa, they sell really well. So we think that there's a ton of potential to do that for the Middle East. There's obviously a lot of very wealthy, affluent Arab population here in London. And so I think there's a real market just for people who have a personal tie, to say nothing of people who are buying feed bags for whatever reason. They're definitely not attractive. And then finally, investment. You know, if you don't want to come hang out in Nablus for several months and you go off back to Goldman or wherever else you're going, you know, just keep these opportunities in mind, or hire an intern from Palestine and hire a partner from Israel. You know, that's great. We're happy to get everybody to be working together and working in good opportunities to expand their own careers. Rawabi is a huge opportunity. You know, this new city, 40,000 people, sort of lower to middle class. A lot of business development. You know, they'll need restaurants, they'll need trash pickup, all of that. And then also the underdeveloped markets. You know, Nablus is one of the most fascinating places in the West Bank, so get beyond Ramallah and come up there, or Hebron, or, you know, Gaza one day. So I hope that we can talk some more in the last little bit, but I hope that some of you will get in touch, and whatever it is, whether it's spending $10 a month from your cozy corner office in New York, or hiring interns, or buying the beautiful embroidery that they're coming out with by next year, you know, or whatever else, please. Or something else that I haven't thought of.